Okay, everybody, it's me, Gregory Mannarino, and I know the lighting's awful right now. I do appreciate, apologize for that. Anyway, it's been crazy. Been running around here like a nutcase all day long. So we have a post-market report on this, of course, Monday, September 11th, 2023. A lot to talk about here with all of you. Before I even get started, okay, I'm getting a lot of complaints about me not answering questions. So I'm going to do this at the end. We're going to cover questions. Please have your questions ready for me. If I miss it, I am sorry. It's very difficult for me to keep up with this live stream chat thing over here sometimes. But I'll see you tomorrow if I miss your question today. Anyway, let us. All right, Jim. All right, let's start off with this. Okay, so the stock market did put on some gains today. The Nasdaq being the largest gainer today. Why? It's just FOMO, people. This is fear of missing out. This AI hype, I think, is getting way out of control, pushing valuations of some of these companies to be so absolutely stratospheric that it's going to end up catastrophic for some people. It's just it doesn't make sense to me. We've seen this time and time again, and I think it's in our face yet again what's going on here. So just be really careful, okay? For traders, intraday traders, this is beautiful for you. But if you're looking to, and even then you could get hurt here. So just be, again, I'm looking out for all of you. I got your back. So understand what you're looking at when it comes to this hype with AI. I really believe in my heart of hearts it's driving valuations up to stupid levels. And whenever things get stupid, they get real very, very fast here. Um Anyway, let's cover a couple of others. As I said, some gains here for the major indices here. 10-year yield came down just a little bit. Relative strength of the dollar got hit pretty good. Crude oil maintaining. WTI still around 87-ish or so. It was above 88 earlier today. Did come down a little bit. As I've been explaining, a pullback here, a little bit of a drop would be extremely bullish. Crude's going higher. All right, there's no doubt about it. But it doesn't mean it's going to go straight up. We could get a little pullback, and that, again, would be a setup, at least in my opinion, and I would love to hear from you technical traders here and fundamental traders, a setup for a move higher. Now, with that said, the S&P 500 is again back above its 50-day moving average. This is bullish. But we'll see again how this whole thing kind of plays out. Now, with that said, I want to cover a few things with you. Let's start off with this whole mess that you and I are going to get forced to clean up. What am I talking about? It's always us. It's always the middle class who gets shafted literally. I'm talking elbow deep here, getting forced to clean up the mess that's created by wild speculation and everything else. So we have touched on, you and I, several occasions about this commercial real estate freaking nightmare that is unfolding. And nothing to me speaks louder than a picture. So I'm going to show you something here. I want you to pay attention to. This is a sign here of what we're seeing here. And also, it's kind of interesting to see how this has played out before. What we're looking at is peaks with regard to office vacancies. Right now, if you look at this last peak here, we're talking financial crisis time. Now, this is where we are now. We have exceeded that. And I think that's kind of an interesting take. Now, prior to this, here, the previous peak, you can read that, can't you? Anyway, this is a big tell in my view. And I think this is going to get a lot worse here. Honestly, I don't see this getting better. And this is not only is this a sign of or a tell, there's always these little hints out there that this real estate, commercial real estate, and I don't even know what you want to call this, it's a hyper bubble, and it's all distorted and twisted like everything else is. But this is also a sign here um, that we are clearly in something yet to be defined, recession, depression, however you want to work it. And I don't think this is a very pretty sign here, honestly. But that's just my take on it. You are certainly entitled to yours. But it is kind of interesting how every single time the economy is doing miserably, you see these big spikes. Okay. But we're being told how great everything is. It's beautiful and it's fantastic. How about no, it's not true at all. So I wanted to bring this lovely, lovely piece of information to uh, your attention. I think it clearly deserves it. Now, something else that I mean, there's so much here. I'm just writing stuff down. Let's start off at the top. So I think what is being hidden from people right now, kind of hidden in plain sight, obviously, like how it always works here. And I want to hear your opinion on this. Okay. So NATO nations are arming themselves to the teeth. So, on top of the fact that obviously this is a mechanism to fulfill the agenda here of central banks to continue to pull cash into the now, there's no greater endeavor on this planet or off the planet or anywhere else that generates more cash for the military industrial complex than war, the propagation of war, the building up toward war. So, what's your take on the fact, and look this up for yourselves, don't take my word for it. Why do you think that NATO nations are now building up their military arsenals at a staggering pace? You think that's just because they think it's fun? Or do you think maybe there's something else going on that they don't want you and I to know about? Kind of like how the FDIC thinks it's privileged information. You can't know which institutions are about to go freaking belly up here. I'm talking about the banks. Oh, no, no, no. You can't know that. It's private, it's privileged, and I don't, it's interesting. Where again? Tell me someone here, because I'm definitely not the smartest guy around here, but one of you maybe can enlighten me as to why it is that our, representatives aren't saying anything. Well, hold on a second. You mean so we have proof 100% that the FDIC, I know I keep beating this up, but pay attention. Thank you, Jimbo. I appreciate that. We have proof, positive, okay, that the FDIC knows which institutions these are. Your cash is in these institutions. Well, if these get taken over by the FDIC as they're threatening to do, privileged information, why is it that our loving, caring representatives don't say, hold on a minute here. You're withholding this information from the people who actually have their cash in these institutions? Really? I don't know about you, but I think there is something very, very wrong here with that. What do you think, Magic Mika? What do you think, Perry? Fish Fan, what do you think? Lord Humongous, tell me, dude. What do you think about all this? It's out of control. Where's Jerome? Where's Goulstein? Common sense. Please tell me. Now, I want to bring something else to your attention as well. I mean, there's so much. Just bear with me as I go through this, and I promise to take some questions at the end. Okay. So the Federal Reserve, they run these studies. A recent study, very recent, that just came out today by the Federal Reserve is saying that credit is getting harder for the average person to obtain. And this also obviously bleeds off right into small businesses, which are owned by the average guy, the average girl generally. So what do you think about that, being that you and I have discussed this at length for months? How this is the real reason why the Fed's raising rates. They're cutting rates here not to do a damn thing about inflation. Inflation is going much, much higher. Food inflation is going to continue to outpace everything. Energy inflation, all the stuff that we've spoken about, it's in our face. But here we have the Federal Reserve studying it. They're studying it. They want to know how bad it is. Thank you, Arjogo. I appreciate that. They want to know how miserable people are. Again, this is fulfilling the corporate agenda. That's what this is all about. Cutting off the availability of credit to small businesses and to the consumers, making their lives a living freaking hell. Meanwhile, these corporations here, most of them are flush with cash. They can weather pretty much anything. And not only that, they got a direct line, all of them, to the Federal freaking Reserve, just like the banks do. You think it's just the banks that have a direct line here? Absolutely not. You think any of these major corporations, if they need to borrow some cash, you understand, of course, that the Federal Reserve can lend to anybody. They can lend to anyone, another nation, a foreign bank, a foreign central bank, they can lend to whoever they want to. There is no oversight, and you're not allowed to know who is getting the cash. You understand? But that's just a beautiful thing, don't you? And if you don't believe me on that, please look it up for yourself. Now, understand how this works. The U.S. economy is dependent 71% or so on consumer spending. So if consumers are having the availability of credit limited to them, what does that actually mean here? It's a sign that we are clearly either in recession or moving towards something yet to be defined. I think it's yet to be defined. They want us in a depression. People. If you lost your job today, and most American people are living paycheck to paycheck, I would say you're in a depression right at that moment that you lost your freaking job. And again, all the numbers, they're all fake. We have admission after admission. The Bureau of Labor Statistics is saying the numbers that are being fed to us via the mainstream propaganda, they're all fake. They're made up. They have no bearing on reality. Again, where is our loving, caring representatives? Oh, you see, you have no representation. I forgot. Yeah, maybe I did forget that. I don't think so. Now, on the cryptocurrency front today, cryptos got hit pretty much across the board. All right. XRP especially. Why? Because the SEC is now filing an appeal against the ruling on XRP. So this affected basically all of the cryptocurrencies, and they all, again, it's fear. It's fear. I'm going to say something that some of you are going to hate to hear. I think it's a buying opportunity, but that's my opinion on it. You're all entitled to your own opinion on that as well. Anyway, look, what do we got here? We have credit being cut off to the consumer, to small businesses, the corporate agenda being fulfilled. We have every single, and again, don't take Gregory Mannarino's word for this. Every single leading economic indicator continues to point towards a worse problem coming down the pike. Smart Silver Stacker, thank you. Yeah, and every single month the jobs get revised down. Isn't it amazing? It's lovely. If you recall, you had our president imbecile touting these jobs numbers. They were fantastic, and then all of a sudden, the next week, they get revised massively down, and he keeps his mouth shut, doesn't he? Imagine my shock here. So again, looking at leading economic indicators, the inverted yield curve, the availability of credit being cut off deliberately, the pressure being put on the middle class by the central banks, by the Federal Reserve here. How can we not be in a recession or worse, moving towards a depression? They're not going to stop. I know what's going on here. Again, this freak show of a market is betting literally that the Fed's going to cut rates. I've been talking about this for weeks now, not actually for weeks, maybe 2 weeks at most, that, this market has gone down pretty much for the last almost 5 freaking weeks. Yeah, sure, we've had a couple of up days here and there, but risk in this market is getting out of control. You know that. The market isn't falling 1,000 points or 2,000 in one day. I'm talking about the Dow, because the market, the freak that it is, believes that the Fed's going to cut rates sooner than later. I say they're not going to do it. The Fed has got us where they want us, by the throat. You think they're going to stop? I don't think so. I think the pressure is going to go on and on and on, and it's going to get worse. People, man, I tell you, this stuff makes me so sick. It really is. It makes me sick to my freaking stomach. And then this thing, what do you think about this? We spoke about it this morning. Banks keep up high use of new Fed lending program. Again, you got 22% of domestic banks borrowing from the Fed just to keep their head above water. Another 55% of these banks are now signing up, and now the Fed is getting requests from foreign banks for which you think the Fed's not going to lend to these foreign banks? You know they're going to. Make it up. Honestly, people, make it up. Make any of this up. Makes me want to puke. All right, look. So, as you all know, here's your opportunity. for those of you that are saying, Greg, you're not answering my questions. I'm here because I want to answer your questions. So the floor is yours. Okay. Lord Humongous is going to buy puts on commercial banks. Dude, I wouldn't blame you. I wouldn't blame you for doing that. I mean, this is craziness. Something bad is going to go on. JEPI, absolutely. I love JEPI. I still do. Still pays a nice dividend. Awakening. What's your opinion on both shipping ETF? Hey, dude, if you can get a 16% dividend out of something, I would think that's damn freaking pretty good. I love to be paid to own. I honestly don't want to own any ETF or any company that's not going to pay me. If you can get a 16% dividend out of this, I'd say, yeah, go ahead, but obviously do your own due diligence here as well. And see how that's paid out. Is it paid out I'm not familiar with this particular one, but quarterly, monthly, does it fluctuate? And if it does, why does it fluctuate? Is it based on market volatility or some other factor? Greetings from Poland. Thank you. That's awesome. Yeah, the war pigs are getting really, really fat. It's absolutely. What could be the financial black swan event? Dude, it could be anything. Honestly, we are in a hyper bubble of hyper bubbles. The debt market is a monster. It's a time bomb. It's going to go off. It's just a matter of when. It's going to go off at a time of their choosing, honestly. They're going to continue to devalue the currency like you can't believe it moving forward, honestly. When? I have no idea. The economy, I don't know when the market's going down. The market's holding its own because of this people betting that the Fed's going to step in here. The economy around the world is already in free fall, and more so in Europe. My European friends are really getting destroyed here. Honestly, what's best, nitrous or boosted turbo? Oh, well, nitrous is definitely the easiest way to make power. Turbos are complicated, all the piping and everything. I don't know. Dash is a long-term hold. You all know that. MMRI 300, absolutely. It's definitely within the realm of reality. Jeffrey asks, Greg, should I buy silver 1 ounce coins or kilo bars? Nothing, honestly. Kilo bars are nice. Smaller denominations, I think, are important to have. Honestly, I like the smaller denominations because you never know. I think the value of these things is going to move into the stratosphere. My Camaro is supercharged. It's not turbocharged, Brother Flo. It's got a Whipple supercharger on it. Crude sideways. This is, it's a great question here. Crude oil has made one incredible run from $67. Could it be topping out here? It very well could. And if we get a pullback, as I said earlier, it's extremely, extremely bullish. And I think it's going much, much higher based on a multitude of factors here. And again, think about what's happening. NATO nations are gearing up for something. You think that these military buildups are just for fun? Of course, it's about spending, even more so. But I mean, they're not. I personally believe that we are going to be seeing a lot more war expand and break out around. Look for a false flag. Nothing would surprise me. Nothing. Not even a tactical nuke going off and being blamed on or whoever they want to blame it on. It's that maybe could be a black swan. I mean, if a nuke were to go off, it would hit the markets in a big, big way. And we'd have to see how that plays out as well. It'd be kind of interesting. PDBC, that's another one. It's a good one to hold long term. Is XRP a buy? I think it is. I think it is a buy. I've been talking about this for a very, very long time. I think the upside here could be staggering. As a matter of fact, all the big cryptos, I think they're going to make a move higher. And in my opinion, based on how money moves through markets, we understand, you and I, how cash moves through markets. It's a very simple concept to understand. Right now, the game remains risk on because the market is believing the Fed's going to cut rates. Okay. Even with risk where it is right now, if the market believes the Fed's going to cut sooner than later, the market could actually put on some gains here. Again, risk in this market is, we are at a very, very high level. We're 20 points, somewhere like that. I think the MMRI is like 278. We're not far from 300, which is extreme risk. Okay. Uh, a big market event could happen in a low risk environment. The market is never without risk. You understand? It's always has risk. Okay. Obviously, the higher I believe the MMRI goes, the more that risk is the prospect of something major happening could be. It could be anything, people. No, I am not making the yelling face. Don't make me do it. You people got me. People are so funny. What about the too big to fails? You know what? That's a good question too. The JP Morgans and the Goldman Sachs, they ain't going nowhere. These two institutions are probably they are the power brokers of Wall Street, and everyone else will fail first and be absorbed by these kinds of institutions here. I am not saying that these institutions are not without risk either. Look, breathing has risk. All right, so everything has a risk here. Thoughts on Albert Pike? Don't have a clue. Please do your own research on that. Yes, indeed, you are too big to fail. We're not going to fail. Let me tell you that, people. Look, what do we always go over all the time? We got each other. We got each other's backs. We're raising our awareness. We're understanding what's going on. We know. Let me explain this to you. Really, really easy. Okay. We know who our enemy is. We know what our enemy wants. I'm talking about the collective central banks who run the world economy, the financial systems, and the financial markets. They're the government, okay? They are also the enemy. They want control. They want more control. They're going to extort control out of the people in any way that they possibly can via inflation, making their lives harder, resource scarcities, these kinds of things, whatever they got to do. Okay, they are going to exert control on you and over every single one of us. They are creating dependency on the system, slaves to the system, all the stuff that you and I have spoken about since I don't know how freaking long. It's not going to stop. It's not going to stop. Transocean. Any thoughts on Transocean? I would be a little leery to jump in here right now, especially because of the global environment. But keep it on your radar screen. I'm not licking silver. Why do you people ask me these things? Anyway, look, this video is getting really, really long. If I did not get to your question today, I apologize for it. Okay, I am doing my best to do this. But I do got to cut this off at one particular time. Please come back tomorrow, and I will try to readdress some of these things here for you. I don't want anyone to leave here unhappy. I'm working my hardest here to again, this is a family. I really feel that way. And I love all of you. I really mean that. All right, people. So that's kind of it. We're going to call it as I said. I hope you got something out of this. If you have gotten something out of this, please, those thumbs up are super valuable. It lets people see the video, get it out there, share it far and wide. I'm counting on you to do that. And I will, as usual, see you in the morning. Okay? That's it.